Hey there, my name is Karen Jones, content creator for the Society of Technical Analysts. We can see over the past couple of hours that the FTSE chart is selling off a bit, and do we need to be worried? Well, I don't think so, not yet anyway. The charts don't suggest this, it's just a simple sell off. It's not even very large in magnitude. So, this is a 4 hourly chart that we've got in front of us. And one of the things I like to look at on the 4 hourly is cloud. And I think we can see quite clearly that the cloud on the 4 hourly chart has worked pretty well since the beginning of July to underpin the market here. And as you can see, we're still quite some distance away from the cloud. But if we needed to put in a short term stop, I suppose the base of the cloud around 9150 would be a fairly decent place to put that stop. It just depends on the amount of risk that you wish to take, what your position is, and your attitude to risk. So, what I would suggest is that you actually look at a chart, that you pay attention to things like the hourly or the 4 hourly. You look how the market has interacted with an indicator such as the cloud. And you can see here that on the 4 hourly, this cloud has been repeatedly tested and has held to push it higher. It has underpinned the chart since the beginning of July, as I said. But if we look at a longer term chart, say a weekly chart, you can see that we are at all-time highs and that we are some distance away from support. Now, your nearby support is going to be the high we got in the beginning of March at 8911. And the reason why this is your near-term support is that it was the previous resistance point, which was retested back in June. And once we broke through it, this now should act as your near-term support point. Look at our moving averages, our long-term moving averages. This is a 55-week and a 200-week, continue to point higher. And I think you can see here, below 8911, we have the old peak back in May at 8476. And again, I think you can see quite clearly, it was tested in the middle of May, it got retested in the middle of August, and it was only when it broke in January it started to act as support. And look at this, it acted as support here. So 8476, to my mind, is far more important than that high, because that held for quite some time and also got tested on the dip back there for support. Let's talk for a moment about this sharp sell-off. Not only did it hold above the 200-week moving average on a weekly closing basis, but when we look at the long-term chart, i.e. the monthly chart, we can see that it actually held the 55-month moving average exactly. And I think what we had was a mean reversion to the long-term moving averages. And again, as I say, the trend remains up, and these are your near-term support levels. We do have this peak back in February 2023 at 80.44. But the really big level, to my mind, is actually this old high that we got back in June 18 at 7909. Why is this important? Because it held for quite some time, and also on this dip lower, again, the market found support there. So that would be your major support level. And if I was going to describe the importance of support levels or resistance levels, I would refer to them in the following way. Like a fine wine, the older it is, or the more often it gets touched, the more important that support level or resistance level becomes. So think about your support and resistance levels as being fine wines. So the long-term trend, if a FTSE remains up, the long-term moving averages continue to move up. There is support below the market. It is some distance away. 8911 is the first one, followed by 8476. Even if we get a correction back to these, it doesn't suggest that the long-term uptrend is being taken out. It suggests all we're seeing is a correction. However, you probably wouldn't want to see your long positions or profits evaporate too much. So if I was looking at this and I had long-term positions on, I would work out where is the line in the sand for me. I've mentioned a few levels on this chart. I've mentioned some long-term levels and shorter-term levels provided by the cloud. You have to work out what your own tolerance for risk is. Thanks very much.